The following is a fan-based story.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are owned by
Gamefreak,
Nintendo,
and the Pokemon Company.
Please support the official release. Hello there! Welcome to the magical world of Pokemon. My name is Curse, and I will be your narrator for the grand journey we're about to embark upon. But let's ask the famous question here. What are Pokemon? Well, as most of you likely know, they're creatures that have formed a symbiotic bond with humans, living alongside us, battling each other for sport, and even sometimes just being pets. But they're no standard animal species, far from it. From simple sheep to dragons fueled by light, these Pokemon can be anything, anywhere. But where will this story take place, you ask? The Paldea region, which is inspired by European regions of our world, Portugal and Spain taking the main focus. From its cliffs to open fields, ancient ruins, and especially its architecture, the whole region is vibrant and colorful. Except, of course, for the Great Crater of Paldea, a massive crater in the center of the region where no one is allowed to go. No one really knows why, other than speculations of danger that are reinforced by a strange scarlet book thought to have been written by a great explorer long ago. But that's enough context. How about we start the story off proper? Welcome to Pokemon Paradox Scarlet. I hope you enjoy. It was around 11 a.m. in the morning. The sun was shining, fluffy white clouds filled the sky, and the Naranja Academy School of Pokemon Academics was bustling with activity. It was the first day of school, you see, although there technically weren't any classes today. It was still the first day students could come back to start living in their dorms again. In the courtyard of the academy stood its director, Clavell, a wise old man about in his 60s with old white hair on his beard and head, which, oddly enough, ran nicely with his posh-looking glasses and orange suit. He looked like a fine gentleman, and the students and staff would absolutely agree that he was a pretty great guy. He walked down the massive staircase in front of his academy, politely waving and smiling to the students around him. He even recognized a few of them, smiling, shaking their hands, even giving them little pats on the back, hoping that it would really excite them for the year, but honestly, it made them feel a bit weirded out. They could see the intention, though, and thought it was still nice. Little did the director know, just above him was something in the sky, flying as fast as it could to the edge of the region. This mysterious creature flew fast and hard, losing consciousness as it fell into the sands of a beach, blacking out when it hit the ground.
Gah! Okay, that's enough battle sims before bed. My sleep schedule is messed up enough.
Waking up in a cold sweat was a young teen in an outfit very similar to the ones the students were wearing in Mesagoza. It was a white t-shirt with an orange tie, orange shorts, orange loafers, and a nice orange sun hat, though the one the teen was wearing was a small bit different. He had a straw hat with a black piece of string running along its edges, a black and yellow sweater with red highlights on the zipper and hood, a small bag in the shape of a red lightning bolt, and comfy pants just underneath his shorts. He got up slowly and looked at the clock that displayed the time, as most clocks tend to do. Unfortunately, this clock was really bad at its one job, as it displayed 12 p.m. on the dot, blinking over and over again. It was broken. He gave it an unimpressed glare.
Well, a lot of help you are.
He got up and properly adjusted his hat, making sure it was on his head, as hats tend to be. But clocks failed their one job today, so we figured, might as well check. He then walked over to his desk, picking up a shiny Pokeball from it. Strangely enough, it was empty, as if the Pokemon was already out.
Wake up, Espada. It's time for breakfast. How do you feel about bacon today?
From behind the bed, a poniard raised its head, yawning in a very similar fashion to the teen. It quickly got up and raced to his trainer's side, making a perfect salute.
At ease, soldier.
He walked down the stairs as the poniard jumped up on his hat, resting comfortably on the flat top of the straw hat. Although it likely weighed around 20 pounds, like most poniard, the teen effortlessly carried him like it was nothing. He entered his kitchen to find a note hanging from the ceiling by a piece of string. The poniard sliced the rope as the note fell into his hands.
What's this? To Alejandro. I'm out getting more supplies to finish the living room. No rest for me when I've got a new house to furnish. Oh right, the director of Naranja Academy should be stopping by around 12:30. Please eat before then. Well, not a lot of time to cook and eat, but I can make a light snack, I guess.
Although it's a little late for an introduction, this teen is Alejandro Redemption, an 18-year-old Pokemon trainer with a trusty poniard named Espada at his side. He has ash-black hair, blood-red eyes, and a wide, happy smile that doesn't match either of the intimidating assets. Though he said he would make a light snack, he took out a stack of ingredients, meats, vegetables, and spices, putting them on his kitchen table. Within minutes, a massive sandwich was standing taller than Alejandro did, and within a few more minutes, that entire sandwich was gone. Alejandro stood proud as Espada shook his head, not entirely sure whether to be impressed or disappointed. But to be fair, disappointment implies you didn't expect this outcome. But before the ponder could come to a conclusion, a knock came on the door, interrupting his thoughts.
Hello, this is Director Clavell. May I come in?
Alejandro walked to the door and opened it, allowing the director to step in. He and Espada gave a small bow in respect to the new director. Manners are very important.
Good morning, sir. It's an honor to meet you.
Oh, no need to be so formal, Master Alejandro. It's rare our school gets such prominent talent such as you. We've only had one other student shine as bright as you in the entrance exam.
Well, not to brag or anything, but I am pretty experienced in battling. I'd be surprised if any type of exam like yours could give me trouble.
The exam in question was a type of simulation anyone could take online. Naranja Academy takes in all sorts of students, and assesses their needs as students regarding what they choose to study. Since battling was the most popular category, it needed to have several divisions to clearly divide skill levels. These divisions were beginner, novice, intermediate, experienced, pro, and champion. Alejandro aced all of them with perfect scores, making him an extreme oddity. Like Clavell said, there was only one other student who had done that before him.
Since we rarely have students with such promise, I've decided to personally congratulate you. But it would be nothing if I congratulated you with empty hands. So I've brought you a gift. The gift of a choice. But we must make a stop first.
Clavell motioned to follow him outside and began walking down the path next to Alejandro's house. Poco was a small strip of land with only two houses, Alejandro's and another which belonged to someone he had never met before. While Alejandro had a house, this was a mansion. It was twice as big, sporting a large garden in the front, a path to the nearby beach, and an overall sleek design that just screamed that whoever owned this house was filthy fucking rich. Clavell walked through the gates like he owned the place, which was perfectly possible given that he was the director of an academy. It would be a weird coincidence, though. He turned to face Alejandro and took out 3 shining Pokeballs. Each had their own symbol on it representing a different type: fire, water, and grass. Alejandro could very easily take a guess as to what he was offering. A starter.
This is your choice.
Clavell threw all the Pokeballs into the air, releasing 3 unique Pokemon that dashed to different sections of the garden. The first of which was a small white duck with a large blue pompadour that ran over to the fountain to wash his ridiculous hair. The next was a small green cat that looked like it was made of grass, walking over to very similar looking grass and sniffing the flowers that were growing from it. Finally, a small red crocodile excitedly tried to eat an orange that had just fallen from the trees in the garden, accidentally burning it with a sneeze. These were extremely rare Paldean Pokemon, Quaxly, Sprigatito, and Fuecoco. Clavell gave a short whistle that rallied them to the center, the Fuecoco singing happily as it carried the burnt orange over. The Quaxly shook its head as the Fuecoco dropped the orange in disappointment. Not of the orange, but of itself.
Choose between any of
Wait!
The door to the house was swung open, someone dashing in front of Alejandro with giant stars for eyes.
Is it you? Is it? Is it? Is it?
Miss Nemona, please give Master Alejandro some space.
The girl did not, only getting closer before realizing she was making him uncomfortable. She quickly backed up, revealing that she too wore a modified school uniform, although this one only had one change, a brace around her right arm. In terms of her actual look, she was quite tall for someone clearly only a bit older than Alejandro, looking like she was around 5'8". She had amber eyes, long black hair that was held in a ponytail, and 3 cowlicks of hair on her forehead that stuck out, 2 of which were dyed a nice ivy green.
Sorry if I made you uncomfortable. After all the hyping up you got from everyone as a trainer, I just got a little overexcited. I'm Nemona. I'm your senior and the leader of the student council. It's really nice to meet you.
One extended a hand out with a smile. After his brain caught up, Alejandro gladly took her hand and shook it with a bright matching smile.
Nice to meet you. Though you probably already know, I'm Alejandro. And this little guy on my hat is Espada.
Nemona looked up to see the Poniard give her a short salute. It was perfectly in form, as everything Espada did was.
Aw, he's cute! But wait, how are you carrying him? Doesn't a Poniard weigh like 20 pounds?
I'm very strong.
Clavell shook his head a bit, already getting a headache from Nemona. He liked Nemona, he really did. She was a great student council leader and did a lot for her fellow students. But sometimes, she was a bit much.
Right, where was I? Oh yes, choose one of the 3 Pokemon before you. They will assist you on your journey through this year. Normally we give Pokemon to new trainers in need of them, but you are a very special exception. I'd like to see you rewarded for your actions.
Alejandro kneeled down to the 3 Pokemon, staring deeply at them with a piercing scarlet glare. While Quaxley and Sprigatito backed up, Fuecoco approached him. He then licked Alejandro's face, mostly to get rid of the sauce that was still on his cheek from the sandwich. Clavell and Nemona were both too polite to let him know. Alejandro laughed as he picked him up in a sort of hug as the Fuecoco's dopey expression turned into a very happy smile, making a bunch of noises that sounded like he was singing.
You've got quite the pipes on you, little guy. I like this one. I'll call him Singe. That okay with you, little guy?
Singe happily clapped as Alejandro smiled wide, hugging him tight. Clavell smiled at the sight, seeing something great in Alejandro. When he looked closer, the world around him faded away. Something in Alejandro's eyes was drawing his attention, stealing his focus. The entire world seemed to darken, as all that was left to Clavell were piercing, blood-red eyes. He tilted his head curiously before the eyes snapped to him. Clavell took a step back as he heard electricity crackle in the air. He could feel it dancing on his skin, a mass of black and red mist beginning to form around the eyes. He could see just in his peripheral vision, red and black bolts of electricity sparking and dancing, all before a flash of red light blinded him.
Director, are you okay?
Clavell looked around suddenly, seeing the confused looks from his 2 students. He shook his head for a small moment, then smiled.
Apologies, I seem to have spaced out. So, you choose Fuecoco, an excellent choice. Though he's a bit, hard-headed, he is a reliable Pokemon that will stand by you.
Nemona raised her hand excitedly, Clavell giving a strange look in response.
Yes, Miss Nemona.
Can I take the Sprigatito?
What for? You're already a champion-ranked trainer.
But if this guy's really so strong, then I want to join him on his journey. Getting stronger side by side as a proper rival.
Very well, if you insist.
Yay!
Nemona quickly dashed to the cat, letting her hand out to pet the grass cat. It happily nuzzled up to her, allowing Nemona to fully pick her up.
Glad to have you on board, Sprig. We're gonna do great things together.
The Quaxley looked down a bit, kinda sad no one chose it, but Clavell walked over to it, giving it a smile.
Don't worry, little one. I will take care of you myself.
Quaxley happily quacked, giving him a little hug with his wings.
Well, now that that's all settled, how's about we have a battle, Nemona?
Nemona's neck practically snapped to Alejandro when she heard the word battle, a massive smile forming on her face that was a little bit creepy.
Oh, we're gonna get along just fine. Follow!
Miss Nemona, please remain calm.
Never!
Nemona grabbed Alejandro's arm, dragging him down to the beach and hopping to the other side of the built-in battlefield. Alejandro got out the Pokeball he just received for his new little buddy and held it tight.
Don't worry. Even though I'm champion rank, I won't use anything above the little guy's level.
Alejandro suddenly remembered his old friend Leon, who was coincidentally also a champion-level trainer, who immediately threatened to throw in his champion-level Charizard into a fight between a Scorbunny and a Grookey. It made him laugh a little bit, but did give him a case of bad deja vu.
Glad to see you have a straighter head than Leon. Bring it on!
They each had a firm grip around their new Pokeballs, throwing it with all their might into the field. The second the Pokemon came out, a faint mist surrounded both Alejandro and Nemona, appearing as red and black around Alejandro and orange and green around Nemona.
Come on, Singe. Let's make this nice and easy. Ember!
Dodge it quick! Then hit him with a good old scratch.
Singe sent out a small bit of flame that was easily dodged, a scratch going across Singe's chest, not having much effect. Alejandro smirked wide.
Now! Ember again!
Uh-oh. Try and get out of the way!
Before Sprig could even try to dodge, Singe grabbed her paw that had just been used to scratch and blasted an ember right in her face, rendering her unable to battle any further.
That was awesome!
It wasn't much, but it was refreshing. Haven't had a good fight for fun in a while.
He got out an Oranberry from his bag and tossed it to the small croc. It bounced off his head and landed in front of him, getting excited when he saw it. He picked up the berry and held it up to Alejandro, like he was offering it to his new master.
No, all yours. You found it after all.
Sin smiled wide, singing a small tune before chomping into the berry. At the same time, Nemona had finished healing up her Pokemon, using a potion instead of a berry.
There we go. All healed up and back in her ball. We should get headed out towards the school now. You coming with, Director?
Clavell gave a polite smile and wave as Alejandro returned Singe to his ball.
Oh, no, I still have business to attend to here. I'm just glad to see you're getting along. Now that I think about it, you're eerily similar. Not a bad thing, I suppose. Please, stay by Alejandro's side for the remainder of the journey to the school.
Nemona gave a mock salute that clearly angered Espada from its sloppiness.
Roger that, sir. Come on, Alejandro.
Sounds fun. Just try to keep up.
Alejandro dashed away, Nemona quickly following behind him. They raced away with smiles on their faces, ready for whatever was coming. Clavell smiled as he watched them, but quickly remembered what had happened when he stared into Alejandro's eyes. That darkness, that lightning. He had to be kept under a watchful eye. Luckily, the perfect person had just volunteered.
Did you know Caparaja have a specific noise they make when Combi and Vespiquen enter their territory?
Why don't humans have a specific noise that means there are Combi and Vespiquen here? Let's leave immediately. Why are Caparaja more advanced than us?
We do have a specific noise for it. It sounds like this. There are Combi and Vespiquen here. Let's leave immediately.
Damn! Missed again.
When you said you weren't good at catching, you really meant it, huh?
The two were on their first route, attempting to fill their Pokedexes a bit. Alejandro was mostly doing it to find something that stuck out to him, but nothing really did. He found potential in every Pokemon that was on the path, but nothing felt right. He'd always found a unique bond with every Pokemon he's ever had, and nothing here really stuck out to him. A sharp pain suddenly rang in his mind as he felt something extremely familiar, as if it was calling out to him. The same black and red mist began to swirl around him before Nemona patted his back, snapping him out of it.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm fine.
They kept walking as Nemona kept a very close eye on his actions. They seemed a bit more frantic now, as if he was searching for something, and didn't even know it. He suddenly stopped, Nemona following suit.
Do you hear that?
Nemona listened closely, but didn't hear anything. The rustling of trees in the wind, the sound of miscellaneous Pokemon going about, they were all normal sounds for Poco Path.
No? What am I supposed to hear?
Something's injured.
A sudden and loud, unfamiliar growl rang out from below Alejandro and Nemona, making them both dash to the edge. Another loud growl, making the earth beneath them shake.
Wait, why did we go to the shaking Oh shit! Nemona, move!
He quickly pushed Nemona back as the ground beneath him gave way, falling down the cliffside.
Espada, little help!
Alejandro grabbed into Espada's chest as he stabbed his arm blades into the cliffside, slowing his descent before reaching the sands of the beach below them.
Phew. Good work, bud. Now, what was making that... Holy shit.
On the beach in front of them was a very, very big red lizard-like Pokemon. It was just barely breathing, clearly hurt and losing consciousness fast.
Hey! You okay down there?
Just fine. But there's some weird Pokemon here. It's hurt. Or maybe it's just starving. Sorry, Espada. He needs your lunch more than you do.
He took out a sandwich that was in his bag and kneeled in front of the lizard, offering it to him. It ate it slowly and stood up, tilting its head curiously.
There we go. Now what are you?
Something was connecting these two together. Alejandro could feel it. It was like this thing was calling to him specifically. He pet the Pokemon on the head and scratched its cheek as a black and red energy flowed outward from him, covering the lizard. He shook his head as he snapped out of the trance and looked back up to Nemona on the cliff.
Seems he's fine, but I don't know how to get back up.
How about that giant cave behind you?
He looked behind him to see a massive cave he somehow missed.
Well, I guess that works. You coming with, Geico?
The lizard suddenly shone with a bright light as the mysterious Pokemon stood up on its hind legs, looking like a completely different and much more powerful Pokemon. Its stomach had a massive spiked tire-like frill, its claws were extended with webbing between them, and its head feathers, as well as tail feathers, grew to have a lot more purple in them, looking like feathered crowns. This was not the same Pokemon standing before him, all weak and damaged. It was now radiating pure power, its energy reminding Alejandro of a legendary.
Whoa! That was awesome!
Gave him a cocky smirk as it tilted his head in the direction of the cave.
Okay, guess I'm following you then. Lead the way, cool-ass lizard.
Lead the way it did, its legs making massive stomps that echoed throughout the cave.
Espada, watch our backs. We don't know what's in this cave. Could be a Reggie for all we know. Or worse, a sleeping Yveltal. Not that that wouldn't be fun to try and catch.
While they were walking through the cave, a huge boulder blocked their path. Alejandro frowned at it, mentally taking measurements to see how to deal with it.
Ah, shit. Espada can't slash through a rock that big. Well, he could, but I'm still a bit too... well, let's just say shaken to use aura right now. Alright, big guy. Wanna show me what you got?
The big guy in question smirked as he flexed his claws out, slashing straight through the boulder with a mighty cleave.
You slashed right through that! Those claws are sharp! Or you've got insane amounts of muscle. Either one. Ooh, or both.
The lizard kept smirking proudly as he walked forward, a beacon of sunlight finally making itself clear from above them. Standing at the hole above them was Nemona, using her hands like binoculars to find them. To absolutely no one's surprise, it wasn't working.
Hey, Nem! Down here!
His shouts caused Nemona to look in their direction, visibly brightening up as she spotted him.
Oh, thank God. Whoa! Is that the thing that caused the growls? It looks super strong. You gotta let me fight that thing! Well, you know, as soon as I make sure you're okay. That's more important.
Alejandro was surprised by the sincerity in her voice, but quickly smiled at it. He kept following the path before he noticed something on the walls.
Hold up. This wall has burn marks on it. Something fire type lives in this cave, and it seems to mark territory. Houndoom, probably. Considering I have a steel type and a very inexperienced fire type, we should probably leave. You showed us your arm strength. But do you skip leg day?
The bipedal reptile raised an eyebrow at him. Alejandro extended his arms out and clasped his hands open and shut, like a baby wanting upsies. There was a moment of hesitation before the reptile picked him up and jumped as high as he could, startling Nemona as it landed in front of her. She looked at the cold-blooded beast as if it was a god, and then saw Alejandro being held in its arms like a grocery bag.
You good?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Just, hanging out.
And to think Clavell wanted me to carry you to the school.
Well, looks like you're out of the job. This guy's got much softer arms.
Both shared a very goofy smile before the feathered reptilia dropped Alejandro on his stomach. It tried taking a step forward before falling on his knee.
Is he alright?
Don't really know. It was hurt pretty bad. Honestly, it was injured too bad for a sandwich to fix.
Wait, how did the sandwich fix?
The same flash of light from before erupted from the lizard before it returned to the form Alejandro found it in, limping in the direction of the lighthouse on top of Poco Path.
What could be at the lighthouse that he would need?
Sometimes only the greatest of views can heal the deepest of wounds, both internal and external.
It's a lighthouse.
But it's a pretty cool lighthouse.
It's a fucking lighthouse.
Well, sometimes you need to appreciate the smaller things in life, Nemona.
Lighthouse!
Hey!
Interrupting their inane and meaningless argument was someone shouting very annoyedly towards them. He had long, flowing gray and black hair with a ridiculously huge backpack and the same uniform as them. Except this person had a puffy jacket covering his t-shirt, long orange pants, and strong-looking boots instead of the standard loafers. His face was full of a devastating anger as he glared at the lizard.
What are you doing out?
He shouted at the mystery Pokemon, only then noticing the two people behind him. He glared at them angrily.
I'm not talking to you. You could shove off.
Alejandro glared back. Before he could say anything, Nemona put a hand out to block his path.
I know you. Aren't you Arven? You're enrolled in the humanities track, right? And aren't you the son of the Professor Sada?
It doesn't matter who my mom is!
His reckless shouting caused Nemona to flinch a bit. Alejandro hid his gaze as well. Those words gave him the worst case of deja vu.
That's concerningly familiar.
What in the world is this Pokemon doing out here? And what's with this form it's in?
We helped it after it seemed to be hurt, and then it slashed through a boulder to help me get out of a cave. Side question. Why was he so much cooler in the cave? He's all less bipedal.
Interesting way to say it, but yeah. The form Koraidon takes in battle. That's its true form.
Arven said the mystery Pokemon's name like it was nothing, but the info was a reveal to the battle freak and new student. This rang bad bells in Alejandro's head.
Koraidon, eh? How do you know its name?
Before he got an answer, Koraidon growled at some closed doors. They seemed to be oddly out of place at the lighthouse. Arven sighed as he turned to the lizard.
You can't go in the lab. It's locked.
He said sternly, like a doting mother to her problem child. He then turned to Alejandro, trying to be civil and very clearly trying way too hard for casual conversation.
I don't remember ever seeing you around. But given the uniform, you go to the academy too, don't you?
Alejandro, nice to meet you. I actually moved here about a week or two ago. But hey, that's enough about me. Tell me more about the cool lizard.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Look, you can't control Koraidon like any other Pokemon. It's special.
Alejandro gave his signature smirk, laughing inward at both the irony of the statement and the situation.
Trust me, Arven, I don't think there's anyone better suited to this task than me. Cool, powerful lizards are kind of my specialty.
That's oddly specific. Whatever. Look, you think you're up to ordering Koraidon around? Then how about I test that theory?
Alejandro cracked his knuckles as Espada flipped off his hat and got into a battle-ready stance. Both made the same gesture to Arven, taunting him to approach.
Bring it!
Arven sent out a Squirtle, getting ready to shout to attack.
Slash.
Within a split moment, Espada dashed in front of the Squirtle and one-shot it. Arven looked a little shocked. Sure, it was only a Squirtle, but it was still a pretty tough Squirtle. Alejandro snickered as Espada shook its head in disappointment. He thought he would get a challenge.
Told you. I got this, man. Give me the lizard, please.
Alright, here. Take this. It's the ball the brute's stuck in.
Why'd you have it?
That thing's your problem now, not mine. Good luck, I'm out.
What? Hey! Answer me! What a weirdo.
Nemona literally growled in frustration as she watched Arven run away. She then turned to Alejandro, who was petting and scratching Koraidon like it was just an oversized puppy, who just happened to be a lizard. Its tail was even wagging.
Aw, he's kinda cute.
He's a good boy. If I'm taking care of you, I think I'll call you Rex from now on. How's that sound, big guy?
Koraidon smiled as he gave a happy growl, returning to his ball. Alejandro smiled at the ball while sneaking a glance to Nemona. Her foot was tapping rapidly against the stoneway as she was angrily glaring at Arven in the distance.
Next time, he and I are battling. I'm gonna wring all the answers out of him.
Battling's really all you think about, isn't it?
Nemona really did have a one-track mind, but Alejandro found it kind of charming in its own weird way. He liked having a friend again. Or at least, he liked having a human one who would answer in English instead of metal clangs. It felt refreshing, even if he did like the sound of metal clangs.
Well, whatever. Let's climb the completely ordinary lighthouse. Can't wait to show you the view.
So there is a view!
It's like a 6 out of 10.
You're a 6 out of 10.
Hey, I forgot to say, thanks for saving me back there. That fall definitely would have hurt. You might have saved my life.
And I'd do it again and again. But no more after that. 3 strikes and you're out.
Of life?
Of life, yes.
The top of the lighthouse was windy and cloudy, yet oddly calming. It had a decently nice view of the school, and they just had to look behind them to see the sparkling blue ocean.
I used to come up here all the time as a kid. I thought the higher place would mean that gravity would be harsher, and therefore I had better training. But that's not how gravity works, apparently.
She laughed to herself of her own stupidity, which she thought was long ago in the past. That training continued to happen until she was 19. She was 19.
But hey, the view's pretty alright too. What do you think, Alejandro?
Nemona took a look at him to find his chest rapidly rising and falling, his eyes focused on the castle-like school. His hands were tight around the bars of the railing, running red because of the pressure. She got a bit closer to him, noticing his shaky breathing and pale face.
Okay. Follow your training. You know how to deal with this.
She grabbed his hands from the rail and sat him down against the lighthouse bricks, trying to focus.
Alejandro, focus on me, okay? Take a deep breath and look at me. You're okay.
Nemona focused as hard as she could, and out from her body leaked a green and orange mist, same one as before, until it formed into a fully flowing aura. It wrapped around Alejandro as the air around him felt much easier to breathe.
Thank God Nurse Miriam taught me this. And I thought aura was only useful in battle.
Where am I?
You're on a lighthouse in Paldea. There's no one else with us. It's just me, Nemona, and you. So just take another deep breath.
He took a very deep breath, which was easy thanks to the aura around him. Nemona helped him stand up, also assisting getting his footing since he found it hard to stand now.
Sorry about that. Castles are a bit of a sore spot for me.
Oh, want to talk about it?
No, I don't.
All right.
That's it?
Well, yeah. If you don't want to talk about it, then you don't gotta talk about it.
Thanks.
No problem. Only an utter asshole would force someone to go to their very obviously bad memories that cause them pain.
Yeah. Agreed.
So is it all castles, or just certain types? If you don't mind me asking.
You know, oddly enough, it's just castles. Not even specific types. If it's a castle, I don't like it. If it's medieval style, I get bad memories.
Okay, but hear me out. Sand castles.
Huh. I always wondered why I had an innate distrust of palace sand.
Somewhere else, the tapping of a keyboard was filling a dark room with ambient white light coming from a desktop. The room smelt of leftover instant noodles, and next to the stack of empty bowls of such was a bed. Well, more of a complete mess of sheets and pillows on a mattress. On the desk were 3 screens of varying size, showing different camera angles of what seemed to be the same base, just with different colors and symbols for each. Beside the screens was a decently sized whiteboard with a bunch of different words and phrases scribbled all over. They seemed to be related to stars, or some kind of star-related pun, but you couldn't really make it out through the darkness. Sitting in front of the desk was a girl in an oversized hoodie, rubbing her eyes that held seriously dark bags under them. She looked like she hadn't slept for months.
No, that won't work. I fucking hate this, but it's my fault I'm in this mess. Come on, there needs to be something I'm missing. I hate X factors. What's X in this equation?
The girl leaned back a bit, stretching as much as she could, until something caught her eye on the cameras. She leaned forward, trying to get a closer look, only to see 5 people in progressively ludicrous clothes meeting for some kind of purpose.
Come on, guys. Please don't do anything stupid. I'm trying. But as always, I'm not enough on my own. Wait, maybe that's it. What was his name? Something with an A. Oh, right.
The computer showed a picture of Alejandro and held a profile on him that was clearly from the school's database. She looked at the records of his exam and smiled a bit.
There you are. I saw for X, but how do I entice you to help me? Feminine wells are off the table. Well, to be fair, they weren't really an option from the beginning. I wonder if the League changed their defense route again. LP, it's a good bargaining chip. Then again, I would need to go outside, and he'd need to be interested. Forget it. This is dumb anyways. I should just go back to sleep. Hopefully I'll never wake up.
She walked over to the bed, grabbing the messy covers and wrapped them around herself in a warm, dangerously comfortable embrace. But just as she closed her eyes, she felt something. She got up and held her head, a rush of pain shooting through her as she saw something. It was a strange red lizard. Its eyes pierced through her. She shook her head rapidly as she tried to get away from the thoughts, tripping over a wire and falling to the floor.
Ow. I think I should go for a walk. I need more supplies anyways. And something that's not instant noodles. Maybe a sandwich. That's weird. I have no idea why I'm craving that. I barely even like sandwiches. It's not even my time at the month. That craving should not be happening. Whatever.
She put on a bag that had Eevee-like fluff and ears, and some small boots as she exited the room. Inside, the screen that held Alejandro's profile glitched, crackling with black and red electricity before the screens went pitch black. Well, that's ominous. If you want to see what happens next, like and subscribe. We here at Curse Productions are ready to put on a show, and I hope you'll reserve a seat in our theater. Thank you for watching, and an even bigger thank you to the VAs whose names you can see scrolling through right now for giving 120% on this. With all that being said, the curtains close, the lights turn back on, and I thank you once more for attending our show. Should you find yourself cursed to darkness, let the accursed shine a light for you to follow. Have a fantastic night.